It's Tuesday afternoon, 4 p.m. in Switzerland. It's Space Café Web Talk time. Our Space Café Web Talk, 33 minutes with Lukasz Wilczynski, will begin soon. Thank you for joining us for our talk today about Mars on Earth, but with far more rovers. As always, we appreciate your participation and ongoing feedback. Any responses are highly valuable for us and helps us to improve. I'm Torsten Kriening, your host today and publisher of SpaceWatch.Global. We are a Switzerland-based online platform for information in and about space and new space activities in a geopolitical context. I know many of you are already familiar with our website, our bi-weekly and daily newsletters, and the Space Café podcast. Our latest episode, released this morning, features Stella Gillian, the CEO of ESA Aerospace, one of the hottest talk in town we have here in Europe. Check it out, an awesome conversation, and it's worth every minute of your valuable time. And of course, it's on all major podcast platforms. So we also keep our fan shop open online for you to support us actively and become a Space Watcher. Edition 1 has cool items for you, your friends, and the ones you love, and your support is needed. If you have missed any of our previous web talks, we have an archive available on our website in the events section and on YouTube. My guest today is, for me, one of the hidden champions on the European space ecosystem, and I hope he forgives me that. He is a brain, he is the organizer, he is a spokesperson behind the European Rover Challenge, and he made it today to his studio, and after potentially 72 hours without proper sleep. What I'm very happy about. Not that you don't have proper sleep, but that you make it. With that, a very warm welcome, Lukasz, to our show.
Thank you very much, Wenk. Welcome to all of you here.
So, for those of you who doesn't know Lukasz, he is the founder and CEO of one of the top innovation and tech PR agencies in Poland called Planet Partners since 2006. And they provide a wide array of communication services such as, and then you can imagine all the entire bouquet of communication services that they exist. And it's up to crisis management, what is awesome. So Lukasz is also a wonderful TEDx speaker and founder and president of the European Space Foundation, where his second passion for the space sector is being materialized into projects like founding and co-organizing the most significant space and robotics event in Europe, the European Rover Challenge, or creating space sector insights for companies and public institutes. And that's what we will talk about today. With that again, Lukasz, welcome in the Space Café. So let's kick that off. The European Rover Challenge is just over, literally. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm tired, but very happy. And I think I lost my voice on the Mars. So just in case anyone works here with ExoMars, just let me know because I need to find it very quickly. But generally, it was amazing time, amazing 3 days of event, but the most amazing 6 months or 7 months of preparing this. So actually, there is a giant after that, but we want more. Something ended, something, we lived for the last couple of months. So I feel a little bit empty for a second because we are starting with the next one already.
I can imagine. It sounds like you have literally just run a marathon, you made it to the finish line, you get all these endorphins in the body, and then after a moment of relaxation, okay, what's next? Come on, give me more. Yeah. So what is the European Rover Challenge? Or maybe you can explain it to the ones that doesn't know exactly what is behind it. So, and what happened during this event over the last weekend, who participated and where did it happen? So just this full package. And I think we have a few of the pictures that you sent over. Maybe you can explain the one or the other detail here on these pictures?
So generally, this project consists of two equal parts. The first one is the rover competition, as you hear, European Rover Challenge. And the second part is Inspiration Zone, when we have exhibitors, conferences, workshops, and everything is open to the public. So actually, I couldn't find such a second event to this, that is both, rover competition and this kind of event open to the public. We started first as just, rover competition, and it was the sister-like event to University Rover Challenge in the United States. And then we started to build it up for, more events, more attractions, more content for people coming into this event. So until 2019, we had only one rover competition, just as you can see on some pictures, because there are students building rovers, coming with the rovers and performing tasks that we will be talking about today. And last year it was different because, it was COVID, everything was closed. So we need to find a special edition of this event. So we need to make a remote formula. Then the teams were connecting from all over the world into the rovers we provided to them. And this year we connected both formulas. So it was first time we did actually two rover challenges at once, because there were students coming with the rovers from all over the world, and there were students connecting with us, with the Mars that we built. And, all these formulas were made simultaneously. So what is happening right on the rover challenge? Generally, we are preparing tasks for the university teams that somehow simulates the task that the rover control teams has right now on Mars, or will have just in a second on the Moon. So you have navigation task when you have, wander out, seeking for my voice right now. Mm-hmm. You have this science task, so you have to find, take a probe of ground, and you have to find if it's, live or not. And there is, of course, blind navigation, because guess what? If I switch on this camera, we can have a problem. And yes, sometimes you can have a problem with steering remotely the rover on the other planet. So actually, when your camera is off, you cannot see anything. Then you have to somehow manage to make a trajectory of this rover back to base or back to the landing site. And what is very interesting, the teams see only what rover sees. So actually, this is the almost full immersion. We don't do delays. No, we don't do delays. There is no sandstorms on our Mars yacht, but the Mars yacht, starting the last few editions, is extremely amazing, because we are trying to simulate some parts of Mars. And this year, as you can see of one of the pictures, I think you see something happened on this Mars, these white things. These are lavas, because this year we recreated the Elysium Planitia region, of course in scale, because this one volcano you can see up of this picture, up right. On Mars, it's like 15 kilometers high, so we couldn't make it one-on-one. So actually, you can see Elysium Planitia, and you can see lava tubes, the caves made of concrete, of course, and all this, ground with the very similar level of hematite. So this is like why it looks like on Mars. And this Mars yacht is created by part of our staff, by the planetary geologists. But this is only the competition. What you can see also that is we have also tents, exhibitors, space companies, robotic companies, educators, space promoters, space advocates, and the conference, the 3 days of conference. So this year it was 3 days of 3 theme days. So the first one was Mars, of course, as this is our main topic we are talking about. But then we switched the next day. We went to the Moon and the orbit, because we wanted to talk about, the space as it is right now. It's commercializing, and it's business, and it's also based on the Moon. And the last day was my favorite, actually, because it was about Earth. Because we had a lot of questions. Why you do it? You have a lot of probably questions. Why we need the space for? So actually, we try to answer it and showing startups, companies that use space technologies already, and not saving lives. We all know these stories, but making profits on very useful services. So actually, satellite observation data, etc., etc. So altogether, this is ERC.
Cool. I mean, the why question I will ask you later as well, because I'm interested in that also. So, but who did participate? I mean, I see our friend Remco in the room. I know that he was over in Poland. Also saw this picture of Chris Welch and others. So, I mean, you could gather really a number of the European lunatics, space fans are over there.
Well, hi Remco. I'm trying to catch up also the chat over there. So actually, we had teams, we had exhibitors, and we had special guests. You mentioned Chris Welch. There was also Justyna Radelkiewicz from EUSPA with us this year. There was also people from the startup companies, space companies. So from Berlin, the entire transport system, Andrea. And there was people also joining us online because, all of this pandemic times, some of the guests couldn't come. So we had, on the first day, we had the associate administrator of NASA, Robert Cabana. It was addressing and answering very hard questions coming from the youngest teams, for example, youngest constructors, 11 years old. And there was also people from Thales Alenia Space, Italy, GMV, and Astronica companies. So actually we have the mix of people from science, from the space business, from the space, NGOs. We had Artemis Westenberg from Expo Mars Europe. So, and Bob Zubrin from Mars Society also joining us. So we always try to invite very interesting and inspirational guests, just to bring more, light on this and to give people opportunity to connect each other on ERC.
So, but out of curiosity, so how did you organize that? I mean, it sounds like a very big multi-day, obviously, event. And so do you have a huge team behind it? Or, I mean, I can imagine like all of our space projects, it's properly financed and supported by anyone. So it must be an easy task to organize that with your huge team.
Well, you mentioned about days, you didn't mention about nights, because we spent some organizing this. Hello, Colombia. Hola, Colombia. And Herman was also our guest this year from our Society Colombia. So actually we have organization team. This is a core team, and there is a main organizer who this year was my wife. So just to make these things very easy for me in my house, because for the last couple of years, I had hard times, because I disappeared for a few weeks organizing ERT. So this year I made it a master plan, and she helped me, and now she understands why I'm doing this. So actually we have her, we have coordinators of each task. So there is a inspiration zone coordinator, there is a judge coordinator, teams coordinator, volunteer coordinator, and promotion coordinator. And this is a core team of organizers and some people also the law coordinator and people helping us. And there is another team working with us from the day one. There are judges, because we start to organize every project in October or November the year before. So actually the judges are responsible for creating the book of rules that will be published always on the beginning of the year. So there is like a team of 20 people working a year before. Then on the run, there are people coming, to take part in some kind of other activities, like, recruit people for the exhibition, go for speakers. So there are people coming. Also for promotion, That's why Remco joined us during the project as well. And at the far end of the project, we are being joined by, I don't know, dozens of people, of volunteers. And then we are almost over 100 people organizing this on site for the 3 days.
Wow. Wow, it sounds like really a massive operation. So let me come back to the why question. I mean, I do sense it, but why do you organize that? I mean, what motivated you to do that? What is the goal? I mean, you partially mentioned it, and what is the mission you are on?
Well, the best answer to the why question is because I can. Because
Fair point.
I'm not an engineer. I'm not, the tech person, because you will be surprised, but I'm a space historian and a communicating person you mentioned. But I wanted always to somehow have influence in the space sector, take part in this greatest journey. And this is all I can do, actually, to join this sector from this part, from this side of, encouraging people to take action in space sector. So the first thing is that because I wanted to somehow join the space sector. The second thing, of course, is and this is our broader mission, broader goal of all our organizers, is to open the space sector for this young talent, for young minds. They are so brilliant. If you talk to each of them, these are the real dreamers, the real space watchers, that they want to very hard join the space sector. They have dreams to be another Elon Musk, join NASA, ESA, or whatever the space agency they have in their countries. And the ERC is for them to test their skills, their experience, to have knowledge and to learn from each other, right? So this is the first target group. And the second one is even bigger, because this is the target group for the next generation that will come after us. And so actually the next generation is sitting in the next room. I hope you don't hear them, because they are fighting with each other, my two girls. And their next generation, they live right now in the beginning of golden space era. So having this ERC just, in front of them, they can touch, they can learn, they can feel the space, they can inspire themselves. And by doing this, and of course, this kind of events everywhere in the world, we can actually build really, really a very committed next generation of space scientists, space engineers, space artists, spacists, because I'm talking about Chris Welch and as he says about him. And, I don't know, space communicators, or space historians, space lawyers, space, in the space, there is a space for everyone. So actually, that is why we do this.
I get your point. I mean, there was a time that I had to deal with a rover as well to go to the moon. And once I had this rover with me at home, and our grandson visited us, and he was amazed by the Audi Lunar Quattro, obviously, and said, "Oh, wow, that's a thing that you want to drive on the moon." And of course, we had this thing, this dream and this inspiration that you transport with just these small things is absolutely enormous, because suddenly the next generation can touch it, can feel it, it's envisioned, and so but. Now 2021 is over. I think you still have some work to do. But what comes next? As you said, what is the outlook for next year? Who can join you on this project of course on the team side? I mean, we see Tatiana are in the room. I mean, they're organizing the Iglunar. Is there an exchange? Is it the community that travels from one challenge to the next one? So how does that work?
Actually, we already talked with Tatiana. We are settled for the talk. And generally, who can join us? Everyone. If someone is interested into joining us and to help us organizing this, you are welcome. If you feel enough to go and be a judge, you are welcome. If you want to, join us only for the competition itself, for the event itself, and be a volunteer, you are mostly welcome because we have volunteers. It's organized in Poland, in Kielce, very small town comparing to the big cities of Europe. But we have volunteers from all over the world. I could see, I was sometimes catching myself to quickly change Polish to English because people are coming from different part of the world. So just if you want to realize some kind of part of it, you are mostly welcome because we prepare this event totally online. We don't see each other for the few months sometimes. And then we have these first meetings, and we are building it's like Remco said when we were closing the ERC internally, that this is a family. This is not an organization team, the judges team, but this is kind of family. And we support each other also during the year because, we have our own work as well, our own projects. And I can observe already that based on ERC, there's something more is happening. We have another projects, people are mixing and talking about other projects that jump in and making ERC as a, jumping platform for the projects. So everyone that wants to help us and wants to work with us is absolutely welcome. It doesn't matter what's your background because organizing team is team of biologists, historians, as you can see, people from HR. It doesn't matter.
But what on the participant side? So are you selecting these teams? Are you inviting teams? How does that work? I mean, at least on that end, I need a certain level of knowledge, or can I put my Lego rover and come over and say, hey, I have a rover here as well?
Well, that's a different story because in January, if you want to be participant in the competition itself, you have to go for roverchallenge.eu and check when there will be the announcement of the book of rules. Usually it's the beginning of January, and then you have to see if you comply to this because you have to first have a team because it's a teamwork. Space is a teamwork. You cannot participate on your own. Then you have to check all the requirements that are needed because there are two formulas. So one that you really need to build a rover, and the second thing you need to go through the rules because, for example, for science task, you will need someone from geology, maybe from biology, to help you to understand what we are asking for. So this is an interdisciplinary work. Then you are prepared. Then you are registering and keeping the deadlines. Remember, space is also about deadlines, so we are always obeying this. And then you are preparing the preliminary documentary, PDRs. Yes, we do this as well. Then there is from the huge list of participants, like this year we have over 100 teams wanted to participate. Then it's shrinking. Then you are sending a complete documentary, as CDRs, and then you are qualified to the finals. We can accept only 40 teams in total, and 24 remote, 24 stationary, like this year. And then, just to not to go out from this list, finalists, you have to send also a video of working rover for the stationary formula. We need to see this if it's working or not. If you are in remote formula, we will give you a simulation because we built Marsiat, we map it, we put this whole simulation to Gazebo. There is also a simulation of the rover. You train yourself, you build your algorithm, because I didn't mention most of the rovers right now are fully autonomous. So this is the level of this event right now. Or you can steer it if you want, but there are more points are for the full autonomous driving. And then we will give you for the remote formula also the training time before the competition, like 1 month before, so you can, feel the rover we are giving you, look for the Marsiat, but it's not the Marsiat that is waiting for you because we always have a surprise.
Of course. But I mean, it sounds that the level of entering the competition, the challenge, is quite high. So people with some nice PowerPoints and a vision can't really make it, or at least
yes, they can. There is an inspiration zone, so you can actually is also papers. Yeah, you can go to for this part. You can show up with your ideas, because we are very keen on attracting people with ideas as well. Because if you want to show your idea, there is inspiration so far, actually, and we are transmitting worldwide. So, and this year we will be making our first edition of ERC inspiration book. So the best ideas that we would like to share, because ERC is also, as I said, for inspiring people. You can take part in the competition itself, work very hard, by nights on these rovers, or you can just, there will be call for papers, and you can participate also in this part of the event.
Very interesting, and already very inspiring. So, what are the kind of partners, or are you looking for new partners to support you further, to bring you to the next level? Or are you say, we are fine with the setup that we have? So how does that work? I mean, you mentioned a few of the big companies before. I mean, they must be super happy to join and A, find new ideas, B, find the talents. I mean, at the moment, we are running out of talents in the market if we see the job openings around the world. And one of the things, it's called the European Rover Challenge, but I understood correctly that people or teams from around the world can join this competition. It's not limited to Europe.
No, if you play tennis, you can take part in Australian Open as well. So actually, yeah, it's open for everyone in the world.
Thank you.
So actually, we need partners. Of course, we always need partners, because we want to, evolve. And there are different type of partners. Of course, we have sponsorships, and we have partners who greatly support us, because we cannot make it with money. Let's be sincere. And here the companies goes for, their own PR or their own personal or their own employer branding, for example. We have the cases like that, because it's the best place for recruiting people. And actually, we also need partners, meritorical partners. So if you have an idea, for example, that you want to test something with us, or you're going to want deeply in the task with some kind of ideas, then it's really a short deadline, because we will be starting making the rules this year. So actually, this kind of partners are needed right now. And we have some kind of, companies already asking us, can they go with us and test some kind of, equipment or some kind of, software? Because this is the best platform for this kind of validation, because we have one platform, right? Different kind of cultures, different kind of attitude, different kind of, level of education, and it can be really balanced if you test this. I'm making right now a PhD survey on this answers from the teams from around the world. So we need always partners. We need partners, and we would like to have partners around the world, because and we will talk about these ideas later for the future of ERC. So absolutely. Generally, if you have idea and you don't know if this idea is fit with us or not, just write me down, because then we can set up a call, and you have a few months to discuss that for sure.
Pretty cool. So I mean, you have me and our team already on the hook, and are happy to come over next year to your place, and I just to avoid to mispronounce it. So to your place to have a Space Café from there. I mean, that shouldn't be that difficult. So, but it sounds fantastic. So, dear audience, if you guys have questions to Lukasz, please put them in the Q&A. I mean, if you don't have questions, we have a few more questions on our end that we will talk about, and we have a few more minutes as well. So, as there are no questions, and Tatjana is looking forward to the to further talks with you, what is great. So how will the ERC look like in 5 years, in 10 years, and especially in a time where, as you said earlier, the golden age of space? So in the next 5 years we will see automatic automated vehicles, at least on Moon. I'm still hesitant to say also on Mars, but it's just a matter of time. And then in 10 years, we will also see potentially humans or assisted by rovers, assisted by robots on other celestial bodies, or in that case, still Moon, in my opinion. But so what does it mean for the ERC? Is it then obsolete? Will it remain honeypot, a melting pot for ideas? So where you want to go?
So right now our vision, like in details, is written to 2025. We have the longer, of course, horizon, but in details we wrote down to 2025. What we do right now, we are building the network, of course, of these young engineers worldwide, and we are building the network of the lesser competitions, like the national ones. We already discussed that with one of the countries in the border between Europe and Asia over there. So they were on ERC. We also talk with people from Africa, and and we will also talk about German, about South America, if you remember. So actually, this is some idea of making a network of this kind of competitions, so the talent pool can flow through the countries to the finals, etc. You mentioned about other bodies, other celestial bodies. So there will be totally different usage through this kind of equipment as a rover. And this is already in our task, because one of the tasks is a maintenance task, where you have to fix something. You don't fix anything right now on Mars, on Moon, but if there will be a moon base or the solar panels, for example, you will need this kind of task to perform, and it can be performed remotely or fully autonomous. So we will stick with more tasks that are used for the companion, the robot companion of human. So for example, if you have URC in the United States, this competition also for students, and there is another task that is different than ours, because there is like bring some medical equipment to the wounded astronauts. That there is some task like that. So as you can see, we are going further and going in future of our times to imagine the task that will be needed for these people actually to train. Because I can see ERC from the team's point of view as really a good testing ground for the task, for the processes they will have in the real space sector. And it will be still needed. What I want to do right now, first in Europe, but maybe we will go worldwide, is to also somehow include ERC in these acts, points that you are going here, taking part in the finals, and instead you already have a points on your university. So it has to be connected. So we want to connect with universities for that. And it will be very hard, but we built Martian volcanoes this year. So come on, we will do it. It is a matter of time only, right?
Yeah,
I think you can count on that.
I mean, as we all know, cooperation with others also needs the other side. I mean, I'm quite sure that you guys are able and willing to go into it, but I mean, if you have a strict university system and a strict grading system, which is out there for the last 50 years and never changed, now you're coming in and say, hey guys, let's get points from that challenge here. I think that there are some challenges in these kind of tasks, as we know, which are more on the administration side. But what I'm wondering,
Torsten, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember the one of the first presentation of SpaceX and Elon? He also said, and people were saying it's impossible. Okay, 2021, there is an inspiration flight coming. So actually, there are no impossible things. They are only very hard to obtain. But I think that we started to invite already the people from universities. We also are on the very trying to connect very deeply in European Commission as well for Europe right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's a matter, of organizing. things. And something I also didn't mention, I will be organizing next year together with ERC the forum for the robotics competition organizers, like a Space one, because I saw after last year when I received a lot of emails, a lot of calls, how did you do this? That you did it during the pandemic. And I was trying to help everyone. And then I see that we need some such kind of forum that we can discuss, exchange ideas, how to help each other, because we are in the same business. We share the same goals and values, and we need to work together. So this will be also one of the, future ideas.
Interesting. I mean, there are this number of institutions, organizations that are doing the analogs for Mars, for Moon, and I think that's also has at least really tight connection or connecting points to what you guys are doing. Cool. I mean, I'm super fascinated. Again, you got me on the hook now, and I'm honest. I didn't know too much about it because my ex-colleagues visited I think was it 2019 or 2018 edition.
2018, yes.
Of the ERC. But no, cool. I mean, I'm happy that we had the chance to talk here, and thank you very much for your time, Lukasz. And I'm quite sure we will stay in touch. And if you have some crazy ideas you want to discuss, or to a global audience, of course, that's what we're talking here about. Come back also from your end. And I think we didn't have questions from the audience, what is very rare. But I see that as a good sign. So I think we covered all of them, or all of the questions, or they're just tired by taking part of the challenge by themselves. So, but I'm afraid we have to come to an end now. Even so, I would like to continue our inspirational talk. So, but be assured we will following our space education. And that's where I'm putting it under in our future Space Cafes and web talks and in our magazine. So, before you all switch off, we have something on our agenda for you guys. Next week, I will talk with Jean-Jacques Totora from SP, the director of SP, about the status of European space law or space policy, which is very important for all of us for what we do and where we are heading. A few days later, next Thursday, we will have, as I mentioned earlier to Naomi, we have another event from Australia, live from Australia. We will have Stephen Freeland with his next space law breakfast, and our guests will be Setsuko Aoki and Peter Hulsroy this time. So it's 9:30 our Central European summertime here. On the 24th, next Friday, we have our next Space Café Canada with Dr. Jessica Wess, and she will talk with Dr. Samantha Lauer, an astronomer from the University of Regina. So what is amazing, that will be 6 o'clock in the afternoon here in Europe, 12 p.m. Noontime on the East Coast, and 9 a.m. at the Pacific. The week after, on the 28th, I will have the chance to travel. So I will be in Geneva, and we will try to make a Space Café live from the UNIDIR Outer Space Space Security Conference 21. So, and we are still working on a few people we want to interview, and it's very likely that we get Robin Geis, the new director of UNIDIR himself, what is absolutely awesome. So then later this week, we have a plan for Space Café UK, and on the 5th of October, we will have a Space Café with Mike Simmons. So all these events are going to be online on Eventbrite as usual. And as always, we would like to hear your feedback. So please check in with us on Twitter, on Facebook, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to sign up for our daily or bi-weekly newsletters if you like to treat yourself with something special. become a space watcher today. Your support will help us. And I think that's the same for Lukasz. Buy his merch, and that helps a bit to keep the engine running. Take your credit card and visit our fan shop at shop.SpaceWatch.Global. I'm sure I said it already, but it's an ugly truth for us. If there's no money, then there's no show. Thank you all very much for your interest today, and thank you, Lukasz, for your absolute inspiring talk and being my guest. And thanks to the entire team behind the scenes doing their great job week by week again, and giving us this great impression of an absolute seamless operations here. I hope you all will stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, visit our website, follow us on social media, and don't forget, become a space watcher.